Okay, we have our first major trade in the 2022 NBA season. It's about time, right? And it involves my Knicks, so I'm very excited to talk about this one today. Woj reported at 11:26 a.m. Eastern Time, the Atlanta Hawks are trading forward Cam Reddish to the New York Knicks for a deal that includes a protected 2022 first-round pick via Charlotte. I'll get into what that pick is later on. Knicks also acquire Solomon Hill and a 2025 second-round pick via Brooklyn in a trade. And the Knicks are also sending Kevin Knox to Atlanta. So I'm going to talk about both sides of things, who I think maybe initially won the trade, why both teams made the trade, and what I'm excited to look for post kind of trade. So yeah, first major trade. There's been kind of guys that have been on the trade block before this season. We all know Ben Simmons. We all know maybe Marvin Bagley's situation is coming to an end there in Sacramento. So it's finally nice to see our first trade made with the NBA trade deadline about a month away. And it involves my Knicks, so I'm super excited. So I'll start off with why maybe the Knicks made this trade. So the Knicks have been rumored in a Cam Reddish trade, I think back until the 2021 NBA draft. So it's been a while now, or been a little bit now, probably just for like around a year, I would say they've been interested in him, maybe even in the 2020 draft as well. Just because Atlanta, after they signed Bogdanovich, they signed Danilo Gallinari, Hunter plays well, Okongwu, they traded for Clint Capella, they have Collins, they have Trae Young, they now have Jalen Johnson. They have a very deep roster, and there was going to be a point where they were going to move on from Cam Reddish. He's been in rumors. Apparently the Pacers were interested in him, and apparently the Lakers were also interested in him, and the Knicks gave up this lottery protected first. And now Kevin Knox, he wasn't going to get re-signed at the end of the year. He was on the last year of his rookie deal. So him going early isn't a big deal at all. Them also giving up, or that's pretty much all they gave up in that, and the first round pick. So the first round pick is lottery protected. I believe it's top 18 protected this year. So as long as the Hornets, I guess, make the playoffs, being like a 7th seed or better, maybe 6th seed or better, they wouldn't get the pick, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So the Hornets might get it, and you might not even get it this year. And it's around like lottery top from 14 to 18 protected over the next 4 or so years. So this was a trade that the Knicks, or this was a pick that the Knicks had. It was their original pick on draft night that they ended up trading for, or to the Hornets for, or they got this pick from the Hornets because they gave up 19. That pick ended up being Kai Jones. So if you look at the grand scheme of things, the Knicks gave up Kevin Knox and Kai Jones for Cam Reddish. And if you would have told me that on draft night, I would have been very happy with that deal, because I was very pissed. If you watched my draft stream on the main channel, I was very pissed when the Knicks didn't take Kai Jones or take somebody at 19 either. It was Jalen Johnson, or at the time I wanted Sharif Cooper. He ended up going in the second round, and there were some other players as well, or Keon Johnson also. But yeah, so the Knicks ended up giving up, you could say, Kai Jones and Kevin Knox for Cam Reddish in the grand scheme of things. And Cam Reddish, we all know that he played at Duke with RJ Barrett, so you're going to see all those Zion rumors, because Zion to New York was already a big thing, and now that they have Cam Reddish and RJ Barrett, 2 of Zion's main teammates at Duke, is just going to blow those rumors out of proportion. I know he's going to get re-signed there. He probably won't get traded if he does until like 2026. So I'm not going to even bring that up anymore. But yeah, Cameron Reddish, I mean, I wasn't really a huge fan of Cameron Reddish on draft night. I wasn't. And his first 2 years in the NBA, don't get me wrong, have been pretty dog shit. They have not been good. His rookie year, I have his numbers up in front of me on my iPad. 38 from the field, 33 from 3. Not really great. I mean, RJ did similar his rookie year, so you'd like to see some progression in year 2. Nope, in year 2, he only played 26 games, ended up getting hurt. 36 from the field, 26 from 3. Not great. And he's dealt with some injury issues throughout his career, playing 58 games in his first year, but that was the whole COVID year. So that one actually is fine. And then last year, 26 games, and he's dealing with an ankle injury right now. He was just out last night against Miami. But yeah, he's been better this year. 40% field goal percentage, first time he's hit that. And you know what? That's still not great, don't get me wrong. But 37% from 3. And the reason why I think that could be here to stay is he's taking the same amount of volume that he has his whole career. 4.3 attempts his first year, shot 33%. 4.8 attempts his second year, shot 26%. So he dropped off there. But 4.5 attempts this year, slightly lower than last year, but slightly higher than his rookie year. 37 from 3. And he's already played in 34 games, which is 8 more than he did last year. And he's playing a little bit less minutes, 23. And the Knicks are a team that also has a lot of depth. For a team I don't know what's going on with the whole Kemba Walker situation, so I really won't talk about guards. But for wings, you have RJ Barrett, you have Alec Burks, you have Quentin Grimes, who's been kind of getting a lot of minutes for you. You have Evan Fournier. Now you have Cam Reddish. There's a lot of depth there at the wing spot, and it depends really if Kemba Walker gets minutes, because then maybe more minutes will be allocated throughout the rotation. But I love this trade for the Knicks. I think it's not a low risk because you're giving up a first-round pick here, but I think getting Cam Reddish is well worth it. You get to see him the rest of this season, and you get to see him all of next year as well when he gets a whole offseason to acclimate to this roster, to this system under Tibbs. And he's somebody that I don't think has been like a be-all, end-all of defenders throughout his career, and he's somebody that's like a Matisse Thybulle. No, but he's been, I think, fine on the defensive end. You could say probably more than fine, and his athleticism and his just skill set is gonna, I think, make him a good defender for years to come. As long as he could be efficient enough from three, I think he could be a very nice 3-and-D player throughout the league. He's never gonna be somebody that's gonna average 20 points per game, just kind of in his roles probably throughout the remainder of his career. But I love this trade from the Knicks. I'm giving it an immediate A. The only thing that ends up happening is if that it's not an A+ is maybe Cam Reddish has shown some inefficiencies. He's also shown some injuries. So there's a chance that he's inefficient for the Knicks and is injury prone for the Knicks. So I'm not going to say this is an A+ trade. It's going to 100% work out. So there's a 90% chance this trade is a win for the Knicks. Now, we can talk about this for the Atlanta Hawks. They have been looking to move Reddish or just kind of throwing him on the trade block for a couple years now, or at least a couple drafts now. I would say it's been about a year and a half. I know there was some rumblings in 2020, but it was more 2021 after they signed Gallo and Bogdan, but which was basically in 2020. So the reason the Hawks can do this trade, or the reason why they did this trade, is they wanted a mid-first round pick for Cam Reddish. You were never getting a top 10 pick, and there's a chance that this pick could end up being not like 17 this year because it's top 18 protected, but this pick could be 16 down the line. It could be 14, could be 15, could be 16, 17, 18, and I think that's fine value for Cam Reddish. You could have waited till draft night, but I think you take it right now, and a reason why they probably made this trade is they have a lot of depth. I mentioned before, Bogdan, Gallinari, Hunter, Collins, Capella, Okongwu, Trae Young. They want to play Jalen Johnson some more. They have another first-round pick this year, obviously. Maybe they want to play Sharif Cooper a little bit. Like, they have a ton of depth, and there's probably even somebody I'm forgetting on this team that they could end up like getting more minutes out of this. I mean, I just kind of have their rotation up, or excuse me, their roster up right now. Yeah, and I completely didn't even mention Kevin Huerter, who could also really benefit from this trade as well. So yeah, I think there was a couple of guys that they want to give more minutes to. Maybe it's Skylar Mays. Maybe it's just kind of random guys here and there, and they feel like they can compete with Lou Will getting more minutes, or DeJuan Wright, and some of those guys. So I think they have enough roster talent to make this trade, and they're not really going to miss Cam Reddish. I mean, they're 17 and 23 this year, I think, and yeah, they've been kind of on the bottom tier so far. So they need to get better, but obviously they've dealt with a lot of injuries and health and safety protocols, and there was going to be time when Cam Reddish is a free agent in 2023, and they're still paying, or they're going to have to pay DeAndre Hunter. They're paying Collins a lot of money. They're paying Capella a lot of money. They're paying Trae Young a lot of money. They weren't going to be able to pay, I believe, Hunter and Cam Reddish. They also gave Kevin Huerter a little bit amount of money. There's obviously trades that can clear up cap space, but there was going to be time. They're looking kind of down the line, not till this offseason, but the following one, when Cam Reddish might demand 15 plus mil. Same with DeAndre Hunter. So they're looking at this. We're going to be kind of up against the hard cap, the luxury tax. We're not going to be able to afford both of them. Let's, just get off of him right now, get this first round pick that we could use maybe as a trade asset down the line to pair up a shooting guard next to Trae Young, or they can look to make this draft pick. The Hawks have been a fairly good drafting team over the last 5 or so years. They hit on Trae Young. They hit on John Collins in 2017. In 2019, they ended up with Reddish and Hunter. You could say that class wasn't great, that was a fine job. Yeah, they could have ended up with Garland, but you already had Trae Young. Maybe they could have ended up with Tyler Hero, but a lot of teams could have ended up with Tyler Hero. So they did a great job there. Also in 2018, when they got Trae Young, they also got Kevin Huerter later in the first round. That was a great job. In 2020, you could say Okongwu, the jury's still out on that if that was a good pick inside the top 10. And same with Jalen Johnson in 2021. But the Hawks have been one of the better drafting teams in the NBA. So they're probably realizing, we're not going to pay Cam Reddish. Let's get a first round pick that could be in the top 20 this year, next year, the following couple years, and we can look to just kind of re-up on that talent at a cheaper cost, right? And I think that's why Atlanta made this trade, is because they're really not going to lose too much on their bench. He wasn't make or break it for that team to really go back into the playoffs, in my opinion. They had enough talent there. And two, they were looking in the long term. They weren't going to pay him. Might as well get something for him right now. Then next year, when he's in a pending free agent, you might not get him for anything. You may be able to work out a sided trade, but you're really banking on him having a good 2022/2023 to get that job done, which is a big risk with Cam Reddish's previous inefficiencies and injury history. Yes, he's doing better this year, but you never know what's going to happen down the line. So yeah, those are kind of my initial reactions. I would give this trade a B- for the Hawks because giving up good talent is never a great thing. But yeah, I could see the reasoning for this trade, and maybe I would even give it a B. And who knows? Maybe in a year from now we're looking at this and this was a good trade for the Hawks and a bad trade from the Knicks. So that's just my initial reaction. Hope you guys did enjoy the video. Drop a like if you did, and I'll catch you on the next one.